Welcome back, guys. We are now at Druid for the card valuation stream for the Lightforge tier list. This is all algorithm based. We kind of interpret how these cards function, and we put it in the algorithm, and it gives us the answer. And sometimes we say, "No, algorithm, you're wrong," and then we fix it. This is Abukta.
This is Merps. Let's talk about Druid, the class that has options and likes to play big stuff.
Yeah, let's talk about Druid. First of all, because we did this mana change that's making cards kind of like look a little different in terms of the numbers than what you're probably used to if you're a longtime user of the Lightforge tier list, we always start with Claw Machine. Claw Machine in Druid is a 233, which is pretty normal compared to neutral. Neutral's 230, so not a lot of changes there. What is interesting is that Carnival Clown in Druid is a 252. Because Druids are going to get to that turn 9 significantly more often than other classes because it's reliant on these big things. It has a lot of big taunts. It's able to heal. Material power also is helped out by taunts. Just a lot of factors that makes it quite significantly high.
Oh my god. I just thought of survival of the fittest into clown.
Yes. One of the reasons, not really, one of the survival of the fittest is the highest card in Druid right now at 261. It just buffs everything so much. You just need like two minions on the board, right? And then you're kind of home free because a lot of your minions have taunts, and if you can do it to a clown, well, you're kind of set. You have 7, 8, 8s, and you win the game. All right. So another big card, if you're looking for something more easily digestible than Survival of the Fittest in terms of top cards, March Hydra is 233, Wing Guardian is 218. Another base, Yeti is, where the hell is Yeti? 106. So Druids are have more use for the Yetis than Demon Hunters, as you know, everyone who plays this game should know. Yep. Okay, so the best card in Druid from the new set is a Fizzy Elemental at 9 mana. It is a 9 mana 10/10 rush taunt, and it is an elemental. I don't know, there's not much to say about this, right? Like, it's a 9 mana 10/10 rush. A 9 mana 9/9 rush was pretty good in Dig Day, so a 10/10 rush is even better. And then the rest of the body taunts.
The taunt is super important. It forces the opponent to deal with it. Yeah, you're just power creeping on the Shovel Fist, and really good. Not difficult to understand how +1/+1 and taunt on an already good 9 mana card makes it even better. There you go.
Yay. Okay. After that, the next highest card is a 149. So we're dropping from 200 all the way to 149. 149 is still good. 149 is around where Fishy Flyer is and Overconfident Orc. And this is Lunar Eclipse. Lunar Eclipse is a 2 mana card that deals 3 damage to a minion. Your next spell this turn costs 2 less. So to get its effect, which basically makes it a free 3 damage onto a minion, you need to be playing a spell this turn. Otherwise, if you don't have another spell to play or that you want to play, it's still like a Frostbolt without a freeze, right? Sorry, a Dark Bolt? What is that card? That Warlock card? The
Dark
Warlock?
Bomb?
Dark Bomb, that's what it is, yeah. So it's basically a Dark Bomb. Unless you're playing another spell, then it's free. So, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's fine. And you're gonna have a lot of spells. Especially Druids have like a lot of spells that they want to use to buff, to remove. So it's pretty good. 149.
Yep. Next up is a 143, so basically the same. It is a Faire Arborist, 3 mana 2/2. Choose one, draw a card, or summon a 2/2 Treant. So it can be a 3 mana 2/2/2/2, which is a pretty good curve card. It can also be a 3 mana 2/2 that draws a card. For example, if you get it in the late game and you don't want to sacrifice the size. Or if it gets corrupted, which is not that hard because it's only a 3 mana card, it can do both.
This is, I mean, you can see how it's good. corrupted cards are rewarded for being decent just by itself, and this is definitely decent by itself. And once you corrupt it, like when you're talking about card draw, um like if something is just pure stats, like more stats, then the corrupt effect isn't as good, because if you're playing something for 3 mana and it's just stats, even if it's overstated for 3 mana, well, its effect is less later on. Card draw is just really good generally. And in fact, it's probably even better later on because you're trying to fish for answers, you're trying to fish for stuff. That's when you need cards. So that's why Faire Arborist is good. Like it's not as punished as you might see some other corrupt cards being punished for, just because of all of these factors put together.
Yeah, this is like corrupt light. Like the corrupt doesn't do as much as other corrupts do. Like you've seen corrupts give like +4/+4 or like deal 4 damage. This corrupt gives you a 2/2 for what you would be doing with it anyway normally, like in the late game. So if you're wondering why it's not even better than this, it's because ultimately the corrupt doesn't do much, even though it's easy to trigger. But it is also just a good card by itself, even without the corrupt. Okay, next up, again, similar rating. We're at 131. This is where Amani Berserker is. Bone Chewer Vanguard. It is a Umbral Owl. 7 mana, 4/4 rush. But it's not really 7 mana because it costs 1 less for each spell you've cast this game.
It doesn't have to be in your hand, by the way.
Yep.
So at any point, if you cast spells, yes. This is good.
I mean, it takes a while to cast a bunch of spells, but yeah, like if you're waiting for the late game, you end up with a 4/4 rush, which, like, we're at the point now where I keep saying this. It's like, what's the point of this much stats in the late game? Well, if you're really going to wait until this is free, it's going to take you most of the game, and at that point, what's the use of a 4/4 rush? But you can also get it at a reasonable time for a reasonable mana cost, which is probably what you'll be doing it for.
Yep. We've seen cards that are kind of like this, and I think cards like this are kind of routinely discounted by people, in terms of how many like spells that you perhaps want to play. Coin, Nature Studies. Like I think people forget that like Nature Studies is a thing. So that's just 2 spells. You're gonna have like all these eclipses that are good. You still have like Bog Beam. You still have a lot of these small spells. Ironbark is in the meta. You still have like stuff like Claw, Mark of Yasharaj. You're gonna use these, and Umbral Owl is going to be discounted, I think, more than people think it's going to be discounted. So just draft your deck, use this card. You're obviously never going to keep it in your hand, but once you draw it, it's going to be super duper cheap because you're going to use a lot of spells. If you think of Druid and you just think how many spells you're casting now, which should be a lot. It actually should be a lot if you're playing Druid. You're still going to be casting a ton of spells. So whenever you draw this, it's going to be heavily, heavily discounted.
Yep. And remember, you're also Druid. You're not only casting a lot of spells, you also have like decent card advantage because so many of your things are big.
Right. So because people are looking at this and be like, whoa, wait, how is this higher than like a lot of the corrupted cards that I think are good? Once again, this doesn't have to be in your hand.
Yep.
For it to cost really little. Really, really little. Everything that you've done in the game, you can counts for this. So part of the reason that the Pearl Tusk is not as good is because it has to be in your hand first, and then you have to trigger it, and then you get the effect, which means you're paying the cost because it's in your hand and you're not doing anything. The owl doesn't have to be in your hand. Now, do you if you draw the owl early, is it bad? Yeah, it's bad, right? But you have to account for the fact that you're going to be playing a lot of spells, and then once you draw the owl, it's immediately extraordinarily good, unlike the Pearl Tusk, that you still have to do something with it, and then it becomes good.
Mm-hmm. All right. So going down, we are now at a 114. So this is where educated Ellick is. You're starting to see like the top normal curve cards are around this. It's also where Ironbark sits. It is an 8 mana epic card, Cenarion Ward. Gain 8 armor, and then summon a random 8 cost minion. It's like a playable good version of that paladin dude that tries to heal your face. I don't know what else to kind of say about it. Random 8 cost minions are generally the best kind of minions to summon.
It's fine. 8 armor is good. It's nothing to sneeze at. And it helps your gameplay, right? Where if you're trying to get to your survival of the fittest and you're trying to get to your fizzy elementals, which is the game plan for druids, then you want that armor. So yeah, you're kind of rolling the dice, but like 8 cost minions are on average going to be good enough, such that even if you don't roll the best, well, the 8 armor helps balance that out.
Yep. Again, 114. You're at the top of your normal curve card range, so nothing special, but definitely not bad. A little better than a Yeti. Next up, you have Solar Eclipse. Unlike the Lunar Eclipse, a Solar Eclipse is 2 mana. Your next spell this turn casts twice. So you have to have another spell. You have to play it on the same turn, which means you can't play that spell on curve. So that spell has to be delayed a little bit. But for 2 mana, you get like probably what's like a 4 or 5 mana spell like twice. So has a lot of upside, but also kind of awkward to use.
Once again, I think people look at 113 and be like, wait, this is trash. This is bad. You have a decent amount of spells in Druid. Like you have, once again, nature studies. I can't emphasize this enough. Like with runic carvings, rising wind. Just play Druid, and you'll see how many spells you're able to get, how many spells you want to play, and a lot of these effects are really good, and doubling it is really, really good, and that makes Solar Eclipse an actual decent card.
Yeah. Merps mentions nature studies a lot because nature studies is basically one of the 2 top neutrals, top common druid class cards that exists. So yeah, and it discovers a spell, which means you can get any spell, like in druid. Okay. Moving on, we have Guess the Weight, another epic druid card. This one is 2 mana. You draw a card, and then you guess if the next card costs more or less. And if you guess correctly, you will draw 2 cards for 2 mana, basically. You know your deck, right? You're probably using Deck Tracker. You know what you put in your deck. And then you may also draw a card that's at the top or the bottom of that scale and making your guess pretty easy. So overall, you have a pretty good shot of getting this guess right.
Yeah, it's not guaranteed though, and sometimes the guess is going to be really tough. So this is just average. Like this score is algorithmed out, and it's like, okay, this is what on average you're going to be able to guess, and the percent chance that you're going to get it correct. That's it.
Yep. I don't know why this is a druid card, but that's kind of besides the point. So that was 110, and now we're going to go to 108. This is where Injured Blademaster is at, River Croc. Like you're at your Cho and Yeti levels of just regular curve cards. And it is the Moon Touched Amulet. Moon Touched Amulet is 3 mana. Give your hero +4 attack this turn. Hey, we've seen that before. Corrupt and gain 6 armor.
Why does this one have to be corrupted? So look, it doesn't
because it's not a demon hunter.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine thinking that you're as good as a demon hunter. Yeah, look, this has to be corrupted in order to gain 6 armor, and sometimes 6 armor is better than immune, sometimes it isn't. But there's a reason it's a good amount lower than that card.
Yeah, but like, don't sleep on this card. It's a very flexible card, and it's a decent removal. Like 108 is like Yeti. You know, you're not necessarily thrilled to put a Yeti in your deck, but you're totally fine. You know, you click this card, you move on, you don't feel bad about it.
Yep.
Is that it?
That's pretty much it. And for people who are wondering, kind of like how good it is in relation to Bite is a 84. So the fact that this card is 1 mana cheaper, that counts for a lot. First of all, like it
Yeah.
counts a lot. And then once you corrupt it, it's like such a better Bite, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's why it's like 20 points higher than Bite. Bite just sucks, but it's still a card.
Yeah.
It's an 84.
All right. Well, okay. Serious question though. What is a fizzy elemental? Like, what is the element?
Soda.
Really? In Druid, the element is soda?
I don't know, man. I'm not. I have no idea. Who knows?
Okay. Just wondering, you know, just kind of confused by this card, just from a base, like, it's a huge 9 mana card, whereas I think Fizzy is, like, light and small, I don't know. Also, it was not something I would consider anywhere close to an element.
It's an elemental. Oh, it's like
Oh,
ale.
it's like beer.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
Okay.
great.
Yeah, still, 9 mana, 10, 10, fine. Okay. That's it for Druid. This is another class where all the cards are good, right? They've done this in Skullman's Academy as well, where just all the cards for the classes are generally good. There's not a lot of bad class cards coming in. I don't think Druid has a lot of like really exciting cards, right? Like Faire Arborist is like a strong card, but it's a 143. It's not like super strong. Other cards around here is like Crimson Hothead or like Argent Commander, right? Like they're fine cards, but I don't know. Lunar Eclipse again, right? It's a fine card. You get a little tempo for it. It's just nothing like exciting. Fizzy Elemental is your like big thing, but it's rare, and again, it's not even that exciting. It's a 9 mana 10/10. I don't know. I feel a little
I think
underwhelmed by Druid.
with Druid, the thing you're gonna watch out for, and once again, due to the fact that it is an epic card, you won't see it that often. So, but for people who are just like, wait, survival of the fittest, 260. How can it be a 261? Don't you guys hate 10 mana cards? Once
No.
again, the meta is at such a point that if you play Druid correctly, there's almost no way you like can't get there. Because once again, we're sacrificing tempo for the initial. Like you're not just putting down a 410 while flame striking the board anymore. You know, you're doing 6 damage and you're getting delayed stats with the claw machine. But like the days where you drop a twin tyrant, you flame strike, and you put out like a ridiculous minion, those are gone. Your chances of being able to get to survival of the fittest has gone up dramatically as well. And with the tools that you have, the removals, the taunts, and everything, you're going to get to survival of the fittest. And if you just play survival of the fittest in any situation where you're not immediately dead, you kind of just win.
You just win, yeah. And Surround of the Fittest could just win immediately, too. Because if you think about Druids do one of two things. You put a lot of stuff on the board and you hope your Savage Roar takes you home, right? Well, Survival of the Fittest is a double Savage Roar, like, that you can't play until turn 10, basically. You don't have the face damage, but you're going to get more damage. You're more than make up for it. And the other thing you're doing is, I'm going to have a lot of big taunts and out-survive you and have more cards and bigger stuff than you. Well, now all of your taunts get +4/+4 too, whether they're on the board or in your hand or in your deck, and you're definitely going to outdraw your opponent now. So it's just kind of, hi, if I'm not dead like almost immediately after I play this card, I just win.
Also, I don't understand how a lot of people are assuming, because I see this comment in chat. People are assuming you're guaranteed not to have anything on your board. I don't understand where that's coming from. In which case, sometimes you won't have something on your board, in which case you're telling me, Merps, you're in a bad spot, and this card won't immediately put you in a really good spot. Okay, I concede that. Wow. Okay, so they've got lots of stuff on their board. You have nothing on your board, and that's why this 10 mana card isn't great. Okay, guys, that's sure. Look, most of the time, you're gonna have stuff on your board. If you have one thing, it's Blessing of Kings plus a ton of upside. If you have two things on your board, just two things, it doesn't even matter what. That's two Blessing of Kings, and you automatically win the game on the back end. So that's like, I for some reason, when evaluating a card like this, like people tend to look at either the extreme upside or the extreme downside. And when you are looking at something like Survival of the Fittest, if your criteria is, well, if you have nothing on your side of the board and they are pushing, like putting pressure on you and they're like putting lethal on you, this sucks.
Yeah.
Great. Twin Tyrant sucks in that case too.
It's game winning in 75% of scenarios. Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty good to win the game in 75% of your scenarios for a card. Like, even a 10 mana card. That's premium territory. You'll take that. All right. Well, okay. Druid overall for Darkmoon, Faire, kind of unexciting, medium power level. I'm just not excited to play their cards. They're all fine. It's just, I don't know.
Yep.
Okay. Do you have any shout outs to give?
Yeah. Once again, let's give shout outs to the mods. We can't thank them enough for just putting up with us, mostly you. Thank you to Legendheart, Cass, Alhud, Boss Ben, and Samson, who are here tonight, hopefully enjoying the stream, but keeping everyone in check. So thank you guys. Can we get some people claps for the mods? Thank you.
All right. And that's it for Druid. We will go to Hunter next. See you guys.
Bye.